Okay, so table 2, flop is ace queen queen. I feel like this favors us more than him because he just calls on the button. I can see him having a lot of weaker pocket pairs here, at least pocket deuces, pocket threes or whatnot, even 7-8 suited. I think we can bet this just on the half pot type of bet, because he's obviously gonna fold if he doesn't hit this board, and if he does hit it, he'll just call and we can just shut down on the turn and river. And obviously it looks like it favors us more. We can definitely keep barreling the turn and the river. Okay, I think I will ISO this one, even though he's on the shorter side. He's limping under the gun. Table 3, I'm gonna c-bet this versus 3 players. When we do c-bet, it looks like we have at least a big pocket pair. And I feel like we can value bet versus ace 5 or even at least some sort of 9-8 type of hand. And table 1, it looks like we can rep a lot of big cards as well, over pairs once we raise, and he just limps. Limping under the gun to me is super weak, and on a board like this, I mean, like, I don't think it hits him very well. He's limping. I mean, he could be limping with at least like 5-3 off, at least queen 7 off or something like that. I think table 3 we can call the turn. That's a fairly weird bet. It's super weird because he leads the turn. Does he have a 3 here? Do you guys think he has a 3 or a flop flush? Our hand is basically a bluff catcher, but I can't really see him with anything here. Okay, we'll just take note. So this guy defends ace jack. Defends ace jack off. Big blind. Leads turn ace high as bluff. When flop is checked back. Okay, so table 3, we open 5-7 suited, and we flop a weakish flush draw. I feel like we can definitely bet this versus 2 players. I think we'll get a call from at least a 10, and even if he's got a 10, even though he's ahead, we can basically put pressure on him. Any type of 10 here, if he has like at least ace 10, most turn cards would be fairly bad if he doesn't improve, and most turn cards basically favor us. We can bet at least a 7 or at least any type of diamond, and this guy shoves with, we only have king 10 suited, so obviously we're gonna fold. Okay, so 4-7 suited, I think I'm just gonna 3-bet bluff this. King queen off. I was hoping this short stack would tag along. Queen jack suited versus a 3x open, and there's already like 5 cents in the pot. You guys think it's a call? I think we should play this more aggressively, because I think this guy's fairly weak. And I think this guy's just trying to ISO him. And I kind of don't want to like call and then check fold the flop. Okay, king queen off versus an under the gun open. King queen off. I think we can call this. Table 2, this guy's playing two types of table. So one 6 max and one full ring. 6-5 suited. I feel like 3-betting here is probably a better play than just calling. I don't want these other guys tagging along. Okay, table 3, we flop top 2 on a semi-wet board. And obviously gonna bet it fairly aggressively. Okay, so I have a note that this guy is a limper, he's a fish. And we do have pocket tens. I feel like this guy is trying to ISO him. And this guy only has roughly about 30 big blind stack, 35 big blind stack. So we're going to try and get it in versus him. And I would assume this guy would fold. He still calls. So which is fairly good for us because he's definitely limping here with a lot of hands. Now on the flop, we kind of don't want to go too crazy. I think this is a check. I think check call here is much better than bet and then folds. And he bets. He pots the flop. What do you guys think he has? I think we're just gonna fold. Ace high on king 6-8, basically dry flop. And the guy check raises us min. Definitely not folding versus a min check raise, because I think he could be check raising here with a bunch of junk, a bunch of 5-7, 9-7, and at least maybe a king. I think we'll just fold. Okay, so table 2, king queen, queen 10 suited. Just gonna 3-bet this versus this guy. And with hands like this, I'd prefer 3-betting them than actually check calling. I'll have to include them in my 3-bet range, just because I feel like most buttons and most cutoff would be opening fairly wide. Okay, so table 1 we just flatted with ace jack, and we do flop top pair, and he bets fairly small. We do have top pair but nothing else. I think I'm just gonna raise this on a fairly wet board. Okay, so table 3 we basically flop a set on 3-card heart board or heart flop. I think we'll just check back here. What do you guys think he called with? I think he called with at least... He just shoves. That's so weird. Does he think we're gonna be folding on ace? Do you think he got... You think he has ace queen? I think this is a call. Yeah, my mistake on table 3. I actually ended up min raising instead of 3.5xing. I don't like my spot here on table. I think this is a fairly okay 4-bet. I think I'll just call here. Oh, we timed out again. So just gonna take note of this player as well. So these guys are fish, playing one table. Open shove. Actually, 3-bet shove. 3-bet shove. 6-6 SB versus MP. I think he had about. Hang on a second. I think he had about 160, didn't he? Hang on, let me double check. Yeah, 165. So that's roughly about 75 big blinds. 75 BBs. What do you guys think of my call there? Do you guys think it's a fairly reasonable call versus a semi-short stack? I mean, if he has 6s there, it's pretty reasonable that he can just 3-bet fairly small, c-bet the flop as a standard. But if he's shoving, I mean, he could definitely have stronger pocket pairs, a lot of ace-king as well. What do you guys think? It's a fairly reasonable call, I guess. Okay, so we timed out on the other two tables, so we'll just open them back up. I should have raced here, my mistake. Just gonna check back. Just min bet this, hopefully we can get a value from like a 10 of diamonds or something. And he decided to check raise. If we call this, would you guys call even if the river was a blank? I think he's more likely to bet this when he hits the flush than check raise it. And he bets fairly small. I think we're just gonna call. We obviously can't fold with top pair on this super coordinated board. Alright, buddy. Nice. And so Absolute decides to 3-bet us. Pocket deuces. I don't think I can fold. I've played with Absolute a lot. I've played with him up to, I think, 16 NL if I'm not mistaken. Pocket deuces. We'll basically just set mine here. Maybe if we were a little bit deeper, I'd call, but I think that was but most likely just drawing to 2 outs there. Okay, so this spot are 2-4 suited under the gun versus medium position or mid position. We're just gonna 3-bet bluff this. We have a super weak hand, but it has a potential, and there's already dead money in the pot, so we're just gonna try and steal it. Okay, this guy's playing one table and we'll basically miss the flop. I'm just gonna check back. Table 1. I'll raise under the gun. I get called by the button as well as small blind. It's an ace high flop. I don't see myself value betting there. But once the turn has been checked, I think we can we can bet this fairly small. And we get raised. $28. It's a fairly big race as well. He's basically repping a very thin range as well. Just any deuce, any ace. Would he raise a flush draw? Why wouldn't he bet an ace? Either way, I think we'll be put in a tough position on the river. Like I said in my previous videos, we just need to play our strong hand super strong and our weak hands fairly weak. So okay, queen jack off, cut off versus button. I think we can just call here. Okay, so table 2, obviously 3-bet blind versus blind. Table 1 we flop second pair, at least a backdoor straight draw, but it's not worth actually chasing versus that bet. I'm just gonna fold. Table 2 we have top pair top kicker. I'm gonna bet this super aggressive, just because I think he can call with ace 5, at least ace 4, pocket 7s, or anything from pocket 6s to about pocket 10s he can definitely call with. So we're just gonna value bet it. 4-6 suited. I didn't see this guy stack, so this shouldn't have been an open, but regardless, we're gonna check fold it versus a board like that against 2 players. There's really no need to bluff. Okay, ace king under the gun. Hopefully no action. Jack 8 is a little bit loose versus a cutoff open. If I want to play king jack here, I would 3-bet it just because there's a short stacker here. I kind of don't want to get squeezed by this dude and we'll have to fold our king jack. I think I'll just fold. So Fernando Life, he opened 3.5 on like in mid position. We do have top pair, but a race like that, I feel like it's on the stronger side. And this board is super drawy. And he bets half pot, small blind calls. They're both pretty short. So what's our best play here? Do we just want to get it in now, or do we just want to call? Basically all turn cards are pretty bad for us. I think we'll just try and get it in now. That's okay. I think that was the plan from the beginning anyways. We can't really just check call top pair and then check fold turn because he's also pretty short. So I think getting it in on the flop is much better than check calling then check folding the turn. And this guy tries to min 3-bet us, and he's got a fairly short stack, but 6-7 suited, I have to like call. I'm getting the correct odds anyways. Pretty much committed versus that 3-bet raise. Okay, so ace-5 suited, blind versus Adiak. Definite 3-bet. So small blind has a pretty short stack, and this is the guy that just calls with pocket jacks on the button. And if we do 3 bets, I think he's most likely to call with any strong hands anyway, so there's no need to actually flat. He's gonna call if he does have any type of strong hands. Okay, so table 3, we open a6 suited, a small blind course, and he decides to min donk. We do have bottom pair, obviously not folding, and check back. I feel like he can have a lot of 8, 7, 9, 8 here. He's donking, and I could feel like he's could also have a 10, maybe king 10, but the bet is just his bet size. We can't really call it. We just bottom pair. Okay, so table 3, king jack off. We open from the cutoff. We flop top pair on a fairly wet board. So just gonna c-bet this on the bigger side, just because I want to make the draws pay. Okay, so table 2, we open 4-5 suited, and we basically miss the flop. We get called by the small blind plus the big blind. No need to actually bluff at this. Now we did pick up a double gut shot, so 8 into 25, so that's roughly about 3 to 1. So we would need 25%. I think we can still call here. And do you guys think he'll fold pocket 6s, pocket 8s, even a king? I think I'm gonna bet this fairly big. And I think he just had maybe a flush draw, but regardless, we're not really beating anything. I mean, even queen high is beating us, so. So under the gun open by this guy, it looks like he's multi-tabling and playing a lot of tournaments as well. Obvious defend. And okay, so in this spot, if he's c-betting fairly small on a jack x dry board, I don't like check calling here, just because I don't think our hand can improve. So I think check raising is better than check calling. I just want to take down the pot there. Okay, so table 2, pocket queens versus a limper. I think we can raise this. Obviously gonna ISO with queens, not folding. So I have no info on Miha. We do have pocket 10s, and usually a standard 3-bet would be on the 18 cent, 17 cent side. I think he's fairly strong here. Just missed it. Let's see. So Ivy opens under the gun. We do have king queen. We have 2 overs and a gut shot. I don't think he's gonna fold at least a 9 here. I'm gonna check. I think we can also bet the turn and put pressure on the river. I think that might have been a better play than actually just checking. Just gonna take note. So race a7 suited, UTG, check back, missed board, will not bluff. Okay, so this is interesting. So we defend on the big blind, oh, sorry, on table 2 we defend big blind with 8-9 off. The guy raised under the gun. It was like a min raise, and he decides to overbet the flop. We do have top pair, so we're definitely not gonna fold. I can see him having a lot of overpairs here. 22 into 54. Roughly about 2 and a bit to 1. So we need 30 something percent, 33% at least, or let's say 35%. If he did have an overpair and we only had a pair, like a weak pair, and he decides to shove. I feel like he has pocket 3s here. So we obviously can't call. I mean, like, to me that's such a bad shove, because obviously he's not gonna get a call from us once the king hits. Like, I'm not chasing, I'm not just calling him with like a naked ace king or something like that. So yeah, we're just gonna refresh these tables. Okay, so I'll probably end this video pretty soon. So like I said, I'll try and make my videos roughly about 30 to 40 minutes each. I don't want to bore you guys with my voice and just me blabbering about poker. So table 3, I decided to ISO this guy. It's pretty deep. He limped under the gun. And this guy, Stojanovski, interesting. 3-5, even though this guy's pretty deep and we're getting 3 bets. 3-5 suited is such in a bad spot. So definitely just folding, and we're just gonna go ahead and lay back and watch the hand. Gonna make note on this player. Okay, so this guy limp call king queen under the gun and check shove 9xx flop. Ace-5 suited. I think I'm gonna 3-bet squeeze this. I don't like. I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable to 3-bet it anyways. Okay, so table 3, he limp calls pre-flop, and then check calls the flop. I think we can keep barreling this, and I think we'll end up getting a fold by the river. think he can fold at least like 10-8 here. He decides to check raise when he limp calls the flop, or when he limp calls pre-flop. Looks like he has some sort of a queen jack type of hand. Yeah, obviously gonna fold. We only have ace high. Now our table 2, the flop was checked. If this gets checked again, I'm just gonna bet this. I think we can get a fold from a lot of pocket 9s, pocket 8s, and even maybe ace jack. Table 3, this is weird. Okay, so he defends from the small blind, check calls the flop. I can see him having queen jack, king jack here. I think this is just a call versus super small bet. Okay, I'm gonna label him as a fish as well, because that's fairly bad play. So defend ace jack off, small blind, check call, 10-9x flop, leads river small as bluff. Okay, I think I'm just gonna shove here. I don't think he can call with ace 10. Oh, and he calls with pocket queens. Nice call, buddy. I think I'm just gonna reshove here as well. Pocket 9s. No diamond. Yes. Let's go. Do you guys think we could have checked back? I mean, like, we're definitely losing against anything if we do check back. So I feel like shoving on the river is a better play than actually checking back. So 4-6, this guy's a pretty short stack. I mean, 4-6 suited, it's a pretty reasonable defend. Okay, we do have a gut shot. I think this is just a fold. I don't want to play this hand. I don't want to check call and then check fold the turn. Now, table 1 we open with queen jack suited. This guy pots it, donk pots. Definitely not folding. We do have a backdoor flush draw as well. And he just keeps potting. Not quite sure what's happening here. Playing one table. Just gonna keep calling. I'm not quite sure what he has, man, but pocket 4s. He's basically repping like a super strong jack and pocket 4s. At least 6-7. I just don't see him. What's he actually value betting? That's all. That's the only hand I can see him value betting. Super strong jack and pocket 4s or ace 5. Not even ace 5 because I don't think he'll bet the turn. I think this. Just gonna take note as well. So defends Jack 10 suited, SB, donk pots, top pair. So donk pots, top pair, medium kicker, triple barrel. Actually, I'm just gonna rewrite this. Defends Jack 10 suited, SB, triple donk pots, top pair, medium kicker. Okay, so I'll probably end the video right there, guys. So I'm gonna just discuss this last hand. Okay, so we open in the cutoff with Queen Jack suited. EV Gapova decides to defend. So that right there, in my opinion, that should have been at least a 3-bet. With the Jack 10 suited, it's fairly hard to play Jack 10 suited in a position like that. And also, this is pretty fishy when he donks the flop and it's a pot size bet. We're obviously not folding with top pair. And then when he gets to the turn, he pots it as well. So the only hand that I can see him doing this with is basically a super strong jack and pocket fours or pocket fives at this point. But then again, he can also have a lot of 6-7, a lot of jacks that are weaker than mine, a lot of ace-2 suited, ace-3 suited as well. So we do have top pair, so we basically beat a majority of his hands that he could also have. Now on the river, this river basically makes it easier for us to play the hand, just because now when he bets and he pots it, even though it's a pot size bet, you have to consider the hands that he's doing this with. Now he's basically not scared of the flush getting there, and the only thing I can see him repping here is obviously pocket fours or like ace jack, king jack. At this point, those are the only hands that actually beat me, and the rest of the hands, they just don't make any sense. I mean, like, I can see him doing this with at least a 6-7 as well. Any type of missed gut shot or missed wheel draw like ace-3, ace-2. And I can't really see him with ace-5, because with the ace-5, does he really donk pots the flop with a 5 and then pots the turn as well? I think with the turn, it's more reasonable to just check or bet small if you just want to get the showdown. And so also with ace jack, I can't see him value betting ace jack. What does he expect to get called by ace jack? I mean, we do have one of those hands that the ace jack beats, but with ace jack, I think most hands that the ace jack beats folds by the river versus a bet like this. So I can't really see this as a value bet. So I think in my opinion, what he was assuming is he has top pair, he's just gonna go with it. Like it didn't matter what type of hand I have, as long as he has top pair, he probably feels that he's good. He's not thinking about what he wants to get called with, what he wants to make fold. He's not really thinking like that. So that's basically why I labeled him as a fish. Just like what I said, by the river, he's repping a fairly thin range of hands. I can see him doing it with ace jack, pocket fours only, and the rest of the other cards or the rest of the other hands, it just doesn't make sense at all. Anyways guys, so that's the end of session 5. I think I'm just gonna chop this video into 2 parts just because it went longer than an hour. So I'll cut it in half, so 30 minutes each roughly. So let's go ahead and open up Holdem Manager and let's see what our progress is looking like. Okay, it's gonna close all these tables. Oh, basically back to even. So we started off with roughly about 13 something, and we hit a spike there, and we kind of went down here, and I think that's with the pocket queens hand versus the ace 5. I mean, that was a pretty reasonable bluff. Like I said, if we do go to showdown, we get beat by all type of hands. And if he's checking, like, it puts him under pressure. But anyways, that was pretty much a break-even session. As you can see, we're back at where we started. So that's completely fine. So hopefully within the next session, we'll do a lot better. And I hope you guys stay tuned for the next video. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.